Here we go. So welcome everyone. Welcome on Instagram and on the Digital Yoga Academy Facebook page, and also over in the Digital Yoga Academy Facebook group. If you're not a member of our group, you should really join us there. There's like 8,000 teachers in this group now, and we're all supporting one another on our yoga teaching journeys. So today I am talking about how to get laser focused on your ideal yoga student. How to get laser focused on your ideal yoga student. So if you don't know who your ideal student is, if you are struggling with this, if you're struggling to understand what they want and what they need from you, then you really need to stick around for this training today, okay? Because I'm going to be talking to you today about how you can go about finding out, identifying who the perfect student is for you, the perfect student who should be coming and booking your classes and your events and your retreats and so on. And so I'm going to be talking to you about that today, how to identify them, and then how to find out more about them, okay? So if you're just joining on Instagram, say hello, let me know where you're watching from, and the same on Facebook as well. If you're just joining on Facebook, do say hello. And I'm here today to talk about how to get laser focused on your ideal yoga student. And it's something that I do talk about quite often because it is super important, okay? This stuff is really important. So before we start, I just want to ask you something, okay? I want to ask you something. So set the scene here. Have you ever sat down to write a social media post, or perhaps you've sat down at your computer to write a blog post for your website, or maybe, you know, some copy for a workshop that you're running, and then nothing comes to you. You just freeze and you don't know what to write. Yeah, has this happened to you before? Do let me know in the comments if this has happened to you before, because, you know, quite often it's not actually writer's block that makes you freeze in this way, but it's actually because you don't really know if what you're about to put out there is actually what your audience or your ideal student really wants from you, okay? Now, we all do suffer from writer's block from time to time, me included, but it's actually much worse when you don't know who your student is, when you don't know who your ideal student is, or who the person is that you're trying to serve, and also why you're trying to serve them, okay? Now, in the world of marketing, we talk about something that's called a customer avatar, okay? Now, it may be something that you've come across before, it may be something you've heard of, a customer avatar. And companies literally spend millions of dollars, millions of pounds, trying to understand who their customer avatar is. And it's this one person, okay? And they actually give this person, this avatar, they give their avatar a name, and they know all about, you know, their avatar's characteristics. They know what their challenges are and their pain points. They know what their needs, their wants. And then everything that company does, all of the decisions that company makes, is then based on their customer avatar. Like, companies literally spend millions of dollars working on this and doing the work to understand who their single perfect customer is, okay? And there's reason for it. There's a reason why companies do this, because, you know, when you know who this single person is, your ideal student, and you know what they need from, you know what they need from you, then you can actually create content, or you can create workshops, you can create retreats, the services that you offer, you can create that based on that person. Okay, so really it becomes a win-win, because you're offering them something that they really want, and you know you also love working with this person as well. Okay, does that make sense? So there are some, you know, ways to kind of really hone in on this and to work out, you know, who this person is, who is my ideal student, because you might be thinking, I just don't really know where to start with all of this. And I totally get that. I totally get that. So what I'm going to share with you today are some tactics and some ideas around how you can start to hone in on your ideal yoga student, the type of people that you want to be coming to your classes, that you want to be booking onto your retreats or enrolling on your courses, okay? And, you know, when you know all this, you're not going to be sat at your computer frozen when you're trying to write a social media post or you're trying to write a blog post, because you'll be happily creating content and solutions that your people want, okay? So another question, well, not a question, but, you know, the reason you're all here, the reason you're watching this today is because you want to build your yoga business, right? And, you know, to do that, you really need to start getting quite laser focused on who your ideal student is, okay? So that's what today's training is about. It's about helping you to define that person, okay? Because, you know, you do really need to get to know who you're talking to, who you're creating this content for, and who you're selling to. It's about kind of, you know, fully understanding who this person is inside and out, what their wants are, what their needs are, what their challenges are, what their struggles are with their yoga journey and with their practice, and how you can help them, okay? So I'm just going to check, see if we've got any questions here in the groups or on the page. So guys, let's make this interactive. As I'm going through this training today or sharing this with you today, you know, do ask me questions. If anything comes up that you're unsure about or that you agree with, or maybe it's the first time you've heard this before, do let me know. Give me some feedback. Okay, so where were we? So we were saying, okay, so we want to know who our ideal student is, okay? We've got down to that. We want to know who our ideal student is. And there is good reason for this, okay? I want you to kind of start really thinking about this. So when you start putting together, say, a workshop, or, you know, you start creating a retreat, for instance, or even an online yoga course, you know, you want your students, when you actually put it out there, you want your students to say, wow, this is exactly what I need right now. You want them to kind of almost feel like you're reading their mind. And for that to happen, you need to understand them. You need to know where they are in their yoga journey. You need to understand, you know, what help they need from you as their teacher, and how you can create offerings and experiences and services that are really going to support them with their yoga journey. And if you don't understand them, how can you do this? You can't. You really can't. So you might have noticed that I've been talking about your ideal student, or the customer avatar, as I mentioned before, and it's a one person. And you might be thinking, well, why is it one person? Because there are billions of people in this world and tons of people that I can serve, you know, as a yoga teacher. So why would I just focus all my efforts on creating, you know, my yoga services just for one person? And the answer for this is because by focusing your efforts on, you know, one single person, you're not limiting your reach. You're actually helping yourself to become laser focused on what your ideal student actually wants and needs. So I want to encourage you not to be afraid to narrow down and into just this one person, because by doing that, you actually you'll start to attract a lot more people who fall under the umbrella of just that one person. So I don't want you to worry about this, because a lot of the teachers that I work with, that's the one thing they say to me. They're like, oh, you know, I don't want to you know, I don't want to leave people out. I don't want to leave people out of my market. I don't want to just narrow in on this one type of person because of the fear of leaving people out. But, you know, you've probably heard the saying, like, when you try to attract everyone, you end up attracting no one, okay? So the other thing to consider is that, you know, when you don't understand, if you're not clear on who your ideal student is, then when you start putting messages out there, your messaging will be unclear as well. It's also going to be diluted and it won't be relevant. Okay, you really need to get laser focused on this stuff because there's a lot of noise online. Think about your Instagram feed. Think about, you know, when you go online and all of the messages that you're receiving. There's a lot of noise out there, and you don't want to get lost in that sea of voices. So it's really important to understand who you're serving and to become laser focused with it so that you can create messaging that's really targeted. And when your ideal student sees that messaging, they know it's for them, okay? Okay, so we don't want to be general because that's just kind of boring, okay? Being general is being boring. We want to be laser focused so that we can stand out to the people that are going to resonate with us the most. Does that make sense, guys? Give me some feedback, thumbs up, if that's making sense to you. I'm just going to hop into the groups and just check if we've got any messages yet. Okay, so if you're just joining me, we are talking about how to get laser focused on your ideal student. It's the type of work that people don't want to do, but it's so important. It's so, so important. You know, I've had to do it in my business for Digital Yoga Academy, really understanding yoga teachers, really understanding you guys, understanding what you need, understanding what you want from me as your coach, and, you know, being able to then create content and being able to create courses and trainings that are really going to help you with the struggles that you have. And if I didn't do the work, if I didn't speak to yoga teachers, if I didn't listen to yoga teachers, how would I know? How would I know what to create for you? I wouldn't, okay? So it is really, really important, and it applies as much for me as it applies for you guys. It applies for you guys so, so much, okay? Because there are billions of people out there, and there are so many people out there who want to practice yoga. But, you know, if you can narrow in and find your people, you're going to have much more success as a yoga teacher, and you're going to have much more success in creating a sustainable business, okay? And that's what we want. We want a sustainable business with a community of people who are ready for what we have to offer. You know, when we put a workshop out there, we've got people there who are just waiting for that workshop to be live so that they can book and so that they can practice with you. Okay, so how do we do this? Well, I've got some, hey Maggie, I've got some ideas for you, okay? I've got some ideas for you. First up, you have to excuse me, I'm a little bit croaky today. First up, you have to put yourself in their shoes, okay? You have to put yourself in the shoes of your ideal students, and, you know, start to understand what they like, what they don't like, you know, what their aspirations are with yoga, where they're feeling stuck in their yoga practice. You know, it might be that they're just really struggling to find the time to fit yoga into their day, and they need you to help them with that. What could you create? What could you offer that would help them with that? You know, maybe they want to, you know, they really want to start getting into meditation. You know, they want to start a daily meditation practice. You know, how can you support them in achieving that? If you don't know what it is that they want and they need and their struggles, how can you create something? How can you create a solution? You really can't. Okay, so first of all, put yourself in their shoes. Put yourself in their shoes. And the best thing about this is that when you do put yourself in their shoes and you start to work this stuff out, they will actually pay for what you have to offer, okay? Because you know how to get them the results, or you know how to get them the transformation that they're looking for, okay? So always putting yourself in their shoes is exactly what you want to do to start with, okay? Now you might now think, well, how am I supposed to put myself in their shoes? And it's actually more simpler than you think, okay? But it does take a little bit of time. And first up, you just need to connect with them. I want you to start paying attention to what your students are telling you, okay? I want you to start logging what your students are telling you. Maybe it's in class, maybe after class, conversations you have with them after class. Maybe it's the emails that you receive or the direct messages that you receive from them. Start to pay attention to what they're telling you, okay? And, you know, connection and listening is sometimes easier than you know, it's sometimes easier said than done, right? So I'm going to help you with this. I've actually created a document for you, and if you head to my website, digitalyogaacademy.com, and go to the resource library, you'll find a workbook in there, and it's called Ideal Student Workbook. Nice and easy. And it's going to take you through some prompts that will help you to get to know your ideal student, okay? So that's where you're going to start. It's where you're going to start, okay? And you're going to do things like, you know, I want you to write a detailed description of your ideal student, your customer avatar that we talked about, okay? And I want you to really dive into this when you write this description, okay? Now, depending on where you are in your teaching journey, you might be making this up, which is totally fine, okay? I just want you to go with it. I want you to go through the motions, go through it. And if you're right, you know, if you've just started teaching, then you really might just be making this up, okay? And it's totally fine. Or if you have been teaching for a while, you know, maybe you're going to base this on one of your regular students that comes to your class week in, week out, okay? So you might already have some raving students, some raving customers who are actually your ideal avatar. They're your ideal student. Okay, and if that's the case, I want you to describe them in detail. So you can start thinking maybe about some past clients that you've worked with. You know, who did you really love working with? And who have you been able to get amazing results for? Think about these people, okay? Think about these people. Think about that one person. Really visualize that one person in your mind as you go through the workbook, and just let that person guide you as you go through these prompts, okay? Okay, is everyone with me with this? Let me just take a look and see what's going on Facebook over here. Okay, so Carol, hey Carol. So Carol says, I've been building relationships with my students and starting to hear their inner voice, which is definitely helpful, for sure. For sure, exactly. The more you build these relationships, the more you can connect and the more you can listen to what they really want from you. You know, it becomes less of just going into a class, teaching people week in, week out, and just going and teaching a class and that's it. Instead, you start to actually connect with your students on a deeper level. You start to understand them. You start to understand what that yoga class actually means to them and how you can support them, okay? It's different. It's a different experience. And when you do that, then when you start planning, you know, new experiences, new workshops, retreats, online courses, which I know many of you are doing, you can do that with your customer, with your ideal student in mind, okay? You'll have far more success when you put it out there and you launch it because you have people who actually want it, okay? You have people actually connecting with what, or resonating with what you're putting out there, okay? So when you go through the workbook, one of the most important parts of the exercise that you're going to go through is understanding what your ideal student's biggest challenge is, okay? What your ideal student's biggest challenge is. Okay, I know what your biggest challenges are. You know, I've really listened and I've collected this information for quite some time now, for the last 2 years. You guys need to do this as well. Understand what their biggest challenge is with their yoga journey, okay? Ultimately, going through this process is getting to that, is getting to understanding their challenges. And it might be that, you know, your ideal student is a stressed out city worker who's in a high-powered job and she's just really struggling to fit yoga into the long hours that she's working right now. How can you support her to make yoga a part of her day or a part of her week? You know, is it an online offering that she could fit in at home, that she could fit her yoga practice in at home? Okay, because whoever your ideal student is, they have a story, they have a reason why they want to practice yoga, and your job is to find out what that reason is. Okay, is everyone with me on this? Over on Instagram, getting some thumbs up. So your job is to find out what that reason is. You need to discover how you can help them. And it's not just a case of asking people, how can I help you? Because generally people don't know how you can help them, okay? Generally they don't, but they do know what their struggle is. They do know what it is that they have a chat. They know what their challenge is and they know what they're struggling with. So if you can discover that about your ideal student, then you can find the solution to help them, okay? And that's when you'll become the teacher that they come to, okay? How's this sitting with everybody today? How's this discussion sitting with everyone? I can see we've got people watching on Facebook in the group and on the page. Give me some feedback. Let me know how this is sitting with you, this conversation today. I'd love to know. Because I do get that this stuff can feel a bit uncomfortable, or this maybe is the kind of work that we put off. We don't really want to delve into this. You know, it feels like a bigger job than it is. Okay, I understand this. Getting a thumbs up. Thank you, Carol. I totally get that. I totally get it. It can be difficult. It can be difficult to work on this stuff, and also to move past the resistance of, you know, thinking we are serving everyone and, you know, yoga is for everyone. Yoga is for everyone, but who are you providing yoga for? Who's your student? Because people come into yoga for many different reasons. And, you know, it'll be something that you're really passionate about. Be something that you're really passionate about. It's really getting to understand your niche. And, you know, I've done another training on this around your niche and working with your passions and getting to know your community. So if you want to delve a little bit more into this, then you can head to Digital Yoga Academy on Facebook, go to the videos, and there's another training around discovering your yoga niche and really delving into this. But I do encourage you to head to the website, go and get that workbook, Ideal Student Workbook, and make a start. Go through these questions, go through the prompts, start listening more to what your students are saying to you, what they're telling you in class or outside of class. And then, you know, if you are thinking of, you know, if you're thinking, actually, let me go back a bit. So if you don't have any students yet, and you're just starting out, then go online and do some research. Be an investigator. You know, go into yoga Facebook groups, go on other yoga teachers' blogs and read comments. You can learn a lot from other people's audiences, okay? So don't let that make you, you know, don't feel stuck if you're right at the beginning of your teaching journey, okay? There's still stuff you can do here, still stuff you can do, and just get out there and get as much experience as you can so that you can start working with different students and, you know, understanding what you feel really passionate about and understanding what they love learning from you. It's really important. Now, if you're looking to, so you can take this a step further, okay? Once you've done the workbook, once you've gone through the workbook, you can actually take this a step further. And especially if you are, you know, looking to launch an online course, for instance, Or maybe you've got this big dream to create something, you know, epic, like some kind of big transformational retreat or whatever it might be. Say you've got a huge project that you're working on and it's a new idea, and you need to do a little bit of extra work to validate that idea with your ideal student, okay? First up, you're going to go through that workbook. You're going to start to understand who your ideal student is. And then if you've got this big project or an online yoga course that you want to put out there, that's, you know, a big dream of yours, then you need to validate it before you work on something huge like that. Before you put all your time and energy into something that could be really epic for you, you need to validate it. You need to know that people really want it. And one of the ways that you can do that is to do some calls, okay? So this is something that I teach in the Profitable Yoga Teacher, which is a 6-month online program. It's a group online program, and the teachers, the students that are in this program at the moment are learning to take their teaching online. They're actually learning to how to create an online course and how to launch it. So we're doing that at the moment. It actually ends next month. And one of the things that I teach, one of the strategies that I teach in the Profitable Yoga Teacher is around validation, okay? And I teach that, or I encourage my students to validate their idea through validation calls, okay? And these are calls that you arrange with your ideal students, your customer avatar, and you jump onto a Zoom call or a Skype call, and you go through your idea with them, and you ask them a number of questions to really kind of get super clear and gain clarity and confidence around what you're creating. So this is something that you can do to take it a step further. So do keep that in mind. It's something to really consider, you know, when creating an online course or creating something that's new, and you just need that extra assurance that what you're creating is something that your ideal students really, really want. And again, if you are creating a course, I did do a training, a video training about a month or so ago, which was called How to Find Your Online Course Idea. I'll link to it in the comments on Facebook. And I talk about the validation methods in a little bit more detail. Okay, so I think I'm going to leave it here, guys, but I hope this has been useful for you today. The goal of today's training was really to get you to think about who your ideal student is, and you know why you need to do that, why you need to spend some work, why you need to spend some time really kind of, you know, doing this little inner work around your ideal student so that you can create experiences, create retreats and workshops that they truly, truly love. So head over to the Digital Yoga Academy website, go to the free resources and get your hands on the ideal student workbook so that you can start going through those prompts. And I also have a mini training on how to find your ideal student and how to discover your yoga niche. And that mini training is available in the Success Club, which is my monthly membership club for yoga teacher entrepreneurs. I'm going to link to it here under the chat, under the video in Facebook. And if you're on Instagram, head to my profile and you'll find the link for the Success Club. The Success Club is a really affordable way to learn with me, to learn essential business and marketing skills every single month. It's $24 a month, but I'm giving you 50% off your first month when you use the promo code 2019 Success, okay? 2019 Success, use that promo code and you can get your first month half price just for $12. There's 13 trainings in there already and you can cancel at any time. So go in there for $12 and you can take a look around, have a look at the trainings. They're full of little mini videos and workbooks to really help you to grow your yoga community, okay? So I'm going to leave it there. Hope you all have a really great day. If you have any questions, you know, do let me know under the video, and I will see you guys very, very soon. Big love to you all. Bye. Bye.